know that in a marriage, it's very, very easy to win an argument, but it's also so much easier to lose a relationship in the cause of such argument. Why do you think is that? You remember the moments where you have walked out of a conversation and feel like, I nailed it. I told her my mind, or I told him my mind. But you go and sleep on your own. You still feel lonely. You still feel unappreciated. You still feel disrespected. Do you remember that moment? I'm curious. Is there a moment that you can remember where you had an amazing argument, you proved your point, and you told your mind and stood your ground, and you felt like, I'm jubilant, I can speak, I can do this. But then you walk out of it, feel dejected. You are more lonely than when you went into that relationship, in that conversation. Do you remember that moment? Does it ring my bell? Remember that song? Does it ring a bell? So why is that a case? It reminds me early on in my marriage. There were many moments where the facts as I knew it were different compared to the confrontation or question I was experiencing. I had a very memorable moment where we went to a wedding out of state, and my older brother was there. And he was in a relationship that was not going according to him. But I was a best man in this wedding. And I presented myself, and I had my wife. When I was, every speech I was giving, my wife was always, I used our relationship as part of as a way to tell the story, to bring a teaching or a lesson into that conversation. So generally, a lot of people are like, wow, man, this guy knows what he's doing. He's always he's including his wife. So right away, I was very much respected, especially my brother's girlfriend really respected and admired the fact that the way I was talking. And he mentioned that to my brother. He said, I wish you would have been like your brother. He's my older brother. But she thought I am the older one because the way I was carrying myself in that day, during that weekend. So my brother came to me and said, Alpha, I think I'm about to lose this relationship, and it's very important to me. I need your help. And I said, okay, go ahead. What's the help? He said, I want you to talk to this girl. I said, you want me to talk to her? Like, about what? He said, just kind of help me just kind of put this thing together. I said, okay, I'll try. I'm not going to promise anything. So I asked her if I can have a conversation with her later. And she said, oh, okay, I would love to. I didn't know her much. So for her, she's like, oh, it's a time to know. She thinks I'm the older brother. It's time to know the older brother. But actually, I'm the younger one. And when the time came, I told my wife, I said, oh, I forgot. I have to have there's a quick conversation I'm going to have. I'm just going to leave you. Give me a minute. And I went to the girl and I said, okay, you have a minute to talk? She said, okay, yeah. And my brother came and said he wanted to feel, he didn't want to make it as if he told me to talk. So he kind of felt like he was lingering there, and she was giving me an eye. I want to talk to your brother. Why are you keep hanging here? And he's like, okay, I know you guys want to talk and everything else. So we kind of walk out away from the group, and we were sitting in a place that was private. And the conversation, actually, instead of being a quicker conversation, it became a very long conversation. She talked about she had a lot to say about my brother. So I had to be wise and listen. And I lent my ear. She expressed her pain, her frustration, and she went on. And if I remember correctly, it might have taken about over 2 hours. And of course, at that time, my wife is wondering, like, where am I? I told her just a brief moment I'm talking to this person. And then later she realized that we're sitting somewhere very private. And she didn't know who this person is. We're sitting there, and I was kind of like, my feet, my hand on my knees. We're sitting, but I'm listening, and I'm leaning and paying attention. And I was giving her the advice, and at some point she was crying. And my wife saw it and she walked away. She just kind of said, okay, I don't know who this is. But that conversation took very long. Uh, and eventually she's like, I'm really, she said, I'm feeling really distracted here. Can you take me home, please? I said, oh, let me call my brother. I said, no, I don't want to talk to him today. It just gives me a lot of things to think about. But I appreciate to listen to me. And you gave me a lot of insight. But I just need to digest all of that because when I see him, I tend to lose my mind. I want to keep my mind so that I can be in a right perspective. I said, okay. I said, I don't know where you live. Because her brother had left, in fact. She's like, oh, I'll give you the direction. I didn't think. So got in the car and I left and I forgot to tell my wife. And we were heading, I'm like, oh shit. I picked the call and I said, honey, I'm just going to drop her quickly and then I'm going to come back. I apologize. I just said she doesn't, and in my mind I'm thinking I've already told her about my brother. So I said, she doesn't want to live with my brother. So I'm just going to drop her off and I'll be back. But because we were already off, she said, oh, okay. And we left and I dropped her off. And when we get to the house, we were talking all the way through and we got to her house, she still was talking. So I pulled this in front of on her house and just wait. We talked and talked and talked. And she's like, oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. She left and I went back. But it was a little bit longer. So when I got back, my wife asked me, how long? I mean, why you guys took a bit longer? I mean, she was curious. I said, oh, actually, her house, funny enough, is not far from here. It was probably about 20 minutes, but when we got there, she was still talking. I didn't just leave her. So she's like, what are you guys talking about? Of course, she doesn't know who this lady is, and I'm just telling her. And in my mind, thinking I've already told her. And in her mind, she's thinking, is the girl is interested in you or what? Why is she crying to you? Who are you to her? And I felt like she's asking too much. We were still young. We just got married. So I started defending my facts. There was nothing going on with that relationship with that girl until, and I was very adamant that I'm going to defend my facts and she's wrong. That's how I saw. The facts were facts and her assumptions are wrong. And so therefore, I'm going to continue to prove that the facts are correct. And in fact, I called somebody else and I said, oh, and she even got pissed off because why are you bringing people into our relationship? Well, we had already agreed in our relationship, our issues are our issues. We try to resolve ourselves first before we engage anybody else. And if we engage anybody else, you have to be a neutral party who have better knowledge and skills in the matter than us. That's what we've agreed early on in our relationship. We're not just going to ask people. And there was, because I was so much egotistic to prove that she's wrong, I broke our own agreement and I just called somebody who knew who she is to prove that there is nothing between me and her. I didn't want to bring my brother because he's crazy on his own world. So at the end of the day, I'm feeling like I proved it. I was correct. The facts are real. But I went to sleep that night lonely, even though we were together in the same bed. She didn't want to talk to me. She gave me my back and I had to sleep. Just lonely. I woke up in the morning lonely. And in fact, we stayed there for a whole day. She was busy with the other ladies. She didn't want to have mingle anything with me. So we kept the face, like everything is normal, but it was nothing normal. The reason she was busy on the other side and I was busy with the boys is because we didn't want to see each other. She didn't want to see me because I was egotistic. I was so eager to prove the facts. In essence, I wanted to win the battle, but I lost the war. I wanted to be right. And each and every one of us have the right for everything we say we have the right. Because it's our story. We are writing it right. That's what it is. So you have the right. I have the right to tell her the truth. I have the right to show that I can. And you have all those rights. But what good will it do if the right makes you lose the most important thing? The best thing is to be correct. A correct is a right thinking. In scriptures, it's called righteousness. A righteous person is the person who exercises right thinking. A right thinking, it does not concern itself with whether these are the facts or not. It concerns with itself with what is the outcome is required here. That's the difference. A right thinking, when a person is trying to exercise their right, they are concerned with the facts. These are the facts, and this is what is happening. But guess what? A person who is righteous is concerning is what is the interest at hand here? What is the outcome expected? What are we trying to achieve? Are we to achieve things are right, or we're trying to achieve peace of mind? And so therefore, the goal that need to be achieved determine the nature of conversation despite of the facts at hand. Most of us, as I was at that time with my ignorance, I wanted to prove the facts. The facts are right. I was not concerned of the outcome intended. And so therefore, I won that battle. Oh boy, I won it because it was true. There was no interest. There was nothing. And I was just being a mediator in a conflict situation. But what good did it do? We left the event the following day, flew back home, no conversation. We were on the plane, not talking to one another. We got home, not talking to one another. Every time I opened my mouth, she shut it down. It took almost a week. We had planned while we are on that wedding, we're going to have some fun. We had no fun because of my ignorant self. So, what are you trying to prove right in your marriage? That is keeping you in a doghouse. That is keeping you in prison. And talking of a prison, it's the same case. I was accused of particular charges in some point in my life. And I was so eager. My lawyer said, these facts are based on what you have given me, these facts that they're alleging are not correct. And I was so eager to prove the facts based on the misadvice I received from my lawyer. And because I was so eager to prove the facts, I lost the case. And I got punished severely because of that. While others who had committed the offense at hand and admitted as such, they focused on the outcome. Their lawyers was much more wiser and said, here is the outcome we are trying to achieve. And because this is the outcome we want to achieve, guess what we have to do? We have to do what is necessary in order to arrive to this outcome. Even if it means we admit the fault in question, we must do so with confidence and sincerity so we can receive the reward that is consistent with the outcome we want to have. So they exercise correctness versus rightness. And they did not get punished because they act in the corrective way. I act in the rightness and I lost everything. And most of you in your marriages, you are losing over and over because you are so eager to be right. I want to kind of share something quick here with you. In the book of Proverbs, it says, pride only breeds quarrels, but wisdom is found in those who take advice. It means you're taking advice on the outcome intended, and that becomes the subject of interest in that conversation, in that situation. Often we mistake that this is the correct way versus the peace of mind. The peace of mind is important. The intimacy and connection is necessary. So if that is the necessary thing, that becomes the thing that you put it forth. In the situation with my wife, I explained earlier on, the best thing I could have done is say, honey, I apologize. When my brother asked me to talk to her, I would have started that way. I thought it was going to be a brief conversation, so that's why I told you it's going to take 5 minutes. But when I was having a conversation, I lost attention of what I had said. And the conversation got deeper. And I forgot to let you know that it's going to take me a little bit longer. Because I could have done that. And the lady actually could have approved because she understood and she'd asked me, oh, is your wife okay? You told her that you're talking to me. And I said, yeah, which is in fact was true. But I said, it's a brief moment. And when she asked me to drop her home, I could have gone and said, honey, I'm going to drop her home. Or I would have asked her, do you want my wife to come along with? Is that okay? Because then it would be more meaningful. And maybe she would have said yes. And in fact, a few years later, I shared with her the story. And she's like, Alpha, you should have told me. If you did, I would have definitely said yes. But I did not. And because I did not, guess what? It created quarrel. I was so busy to be right. And my rightness cost me. And that's what happened every single day. Whatever you're trying to be right, you are going to lose the battle. You might, yes, win this issue in question by proving as such, but you're going to be so alienated so much because you have to hurt people sometimes in the journey. Instead of thinking, what am I trying to achieve? A peace of mind. I don't care whether I did it or not. If we all have to take the credit in this, then let us be. And then I'm going to give everybody the opportunity to be able to receive the credit, even though I am the one who did it. And when I learned this lesson, I did something very simple. And sometimes I was like, but I had a client who said, but I'm always the one who's apologizing. It makes no difference because you are the one who's benefiting from that apology. You have a peace of mind. We are so caught up and say, I'm the one who's doing it. Every time there's been a quarrel in the past in my marriage, I'm the first one usually I say, honey, I apologize. I apologize. I should have handled it better. And then we go to the issue need to be discussed. But I've set things right. I apologize. I downgrade the tension. And I take the responsibility away from her. So she does not have to toggle whether she should say this or should say that. I am the one who's responsible. I should have handled it better. And guess what? Immediately she responded because there is this idea in psychology. When you give something to somebody, you make them feel responsible that they owe you to give it back. It's proven. And that's why most of businesses, like you go to Costco and other places, or this food court, they want to give you something for free to try it. Because consciously you're going to feel obligated to give it back. And give it back how? You're buying the thing in question. And that's what happens. So every time I say, I apologize, honey, I should have known better. I should have done better. I minimize the tension. And she failed to reciprocate the matter. The law of reciprocity. So what does she do? She said, I'm sorry too. I apologize as well. You're not only at fault as me as well. Your spouse might not be saying that, but by me saying that, guess what? Even if she doesn't say, it doesn't matter, because at the end, I'm the one who's going to benefit from the peace of mind. I'm not going to be frustrated, and that night I'm going to sleep with a smile on my face and maybe feeling, it feels amazing. I'm the one who's benefiting from it. So what does it matter if I'm the one who's investing by saying I apologize? Take responsibilities and keep things tamed. You see what's the difference here? It's no longer because the focus changes that I need peace of mind. I need to keep smiling. I need to hold my wife. I need to play with her. I need that intimacy. I need that connection. And hey, I need that sex as well. And by actually being responsible, by saying, I apologize, honey. I should have known better. In fact, I should have. So I would have handled the matter differently. And by admitting to that, it softened her. It mute the issue. We talked in a different tone. There's a peace of mind, and actually there's a makeup after that. Because she's like, this guy is good. I chose to be correct versus being right. It's very, very important. And it says here, correctness is rooted on wisdom of righteousness, right thinking. Right thinking is concerning itself with the outcome at hand. So in the scriptures, we're told, let all that you do be done in love. The conversation you're having in my mind must be done in love. To be done in love, it means to be persisted in the right direction. Love is patient, is to be patient in the outcome you seek to experience, not the evidence you want to prove to be true. That's how you do things in love, that I am focused, I'm being patient in doing everything else to navigate this conversation, to be consistent with the outcome I want to have, which is peace of mind, which is laughter, connection, joyfulness, love, intimacy. So it changes the environment. The conversation comes from a different point of view, and it have different tone and sensitivity. And this is true when it comes to the conflict is anything as it pertains to your relationship, finances, the kids, parenting, connection, social, all of those things. There is nothing to prove in this world. But ignorant are the only one who are seek to prove, because to be ignorant is not a bad thing, you know. In fact, every wise person was once ignorant until they learn, and therefore they became wise. I hope that makes sense. When I say ignorant, it seems you ignore knowledge. You ignore the knowledge that you need to be correct, not to be right. And so therefore you choose to be right. And that's what I call you ignorant. You ignore knowledge. So don't take it offense, but take it from that context. You ignore knowledge. Even today, you might have been listening to this podcast and you choose not to exercise that which I shared because you're so eager and eager to prove your point to your spouse, and you go and do the same, and you create erupt, an eruption, a volcanic eruption appears where curses, words are exchanged just because you wanted to prove something. Your spouse might be an idiot, and you call them an idiot because you say, I gotta tell them who they are. So what good has it done to you? Well, you could have said, honey, I hear your point, and it makes perfect sense, because when you're putting it that way, honey, it perfectly, now I understand why you said the way you said. But also hear my point. And I'm not saying that my point is right. Maybe yours is the right one, but hear what I say, because I was thinking this way. And because of this way, so that's why I did this way. But regardless, I'm not here to say you're wrong when I'm right. I just want you to understand my perspective as well. It changes, it gives a different tone. You're leaving it up to a person to think. And in fact, you're showing them that you have thought of them, considered them, and valued their point of view. The law of reciprocity plays its role, which demands of them to act of the same. And sometimes they might not, but at least there will be no argument. And you have won both the war and the battle, because there will be a peace of mind. You guys can laugh again. You guys can connect again. You guys can do whatever you do again. That is why this issue is of crucial importance. It says, do not merely look out for your own interest. That's what the scripture says. But also for the interest of others. Philippians 2:4. Others is a symbol of the collective environment that you're in. What is the goal at hand here? Is it the goal to show that I'm stronger, or the goal to have influence in this group, to have influence in my marriage? Is it my goal to show that I am a man, or to show that I respect my partner, so my partner can give me back the respect I would love to have? And if that is the interest, so you demonstrate things. No longer you're looking for your interest. I need to be respected. No. I'm changing the conversation. I am a man here. No. I'm changing the conversation. Honey, as my wife and as a lady of this marriage, you don't understand the caliber and the impact you've had and continue to have every single day. I appreciate you. You're not demanding you're not demanding you are right or you are whatever you want. You are praising the person. You are giving them the credit. And they might not give it back because they love to be credited. But guess what? You have received the peace. You might not even be given the same word that you gave, but the peace you seek has come back. The laughter, the calmness is relevant. And that's what you're looking for. It would be great if the other person comes and gives you the same credit you gave, but at minimum, you've gotten the most best part. Because what good is it going to do if you can prove as such and not have the peace of mind? Because that is what will happen. And that's how you lose your marriage, even though you're right. Most of the marriages fall and fail because of that simple approach. You want to be right so bad, you forget there's an element of correctiveness. And it is the correctness that matters in each and every conversation, in each and every instance in life, because correctness calls us to grow, to become better than the best we've had. The facts cause us to go back into the past. Because the fact is that which has already happened. When you are proving it, you are proving something of yesterday, something that has been passed with time, something that is dead. Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead. Meaning that that which has passed is no longer relevant. We shouldn't carry it. Let it just disappear by itself. That is the meaning of that statement. Let the dead. The past is the dead thing, is no longer alive. It has already happened. Let it just disappear itself. The attention you give it to it, the relevant it becomes. So the more you're defending that which has happened, even though it was on your side, you are actually making it more relevant in your conversation. And that is killing your relationship. Instead, let the dead bury the dead. And be righteous, being a righteous person. Consider yourself of the welfare of the situation. What am I interested of in this relationship, in this conversation? I don't want, sometimes we think, I need her to get my point. That's not the case. If she gets your point and still disrespects you, what good is that going to make? If she gets your point and still she does not change or he does not change, what good is that to you? Whether she gets or she doesn't, whether he gets or he doesn't, but at the end, if the goal is achieved, which is a peace of mind, respect, and intimacy and connection, if that's all there is needed and it happens in the end, guess what? Screw the rightness. I will keep the correctness every day. And I've been doing that all along. My wife is doing the same thing. It's just who's doing first. Because we know the techniques. So we are applying them. And again, like everything else, my 3I framework plays a crucial, important role in guiding you in that process. If sometimes you're like, okay, what am I going to do here? I don't even know what is right. What is actually, you have to start with the idealization. And if you need a timeout, just tell your partner, say, I apologize. Can I just take a minute because I hear you and I want to make it right for you. So give me a minute and you make it about them now. See how you play it? I want to make it right about you. And because I want to make it right about you, give me a minute. Let me just kind of collect myself. Because after I just thought of something, it made make sense what you're saying. They're going to give you that minute. Because they'll be like, okay, so he's getting it or she's getting it. They're going to give you the space and go take a 5-minute break, apply my 3I framework. Idealize. What is the frustration here? What is the discomfort, emotional discomfort? Once you identify, you have said, speak, Lord, your servant is listening. What you are listening now is the opposite of that which you have heard, what you have identified. This whole thing is going to cause chaos here. We're going to argue, and he has serious temper. We're going to throw things, we're going to break things. And that doesn't make me feel safe. So that's the emotional discomfort. And guess what? The opposite is I want to be comfortable. I want to feel safe in my own home. I want to laugh again. Screw about who is right and wrong. I want to laugh again. I want to smile. I want to feel loved. We have idealized the situation. So we internalize it. I am loved. I am appreciated. I am respected. I feel safe in my own marriage. I feel safe in my own house. And I feel it come into my house with Thanksgiving. So I am thanking. Oh man, I feel amazing. I repeated it a couple few minutes. It sink in. I feel it in my body. I feel it in my mind, and I'm there. I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling amazing. You're gonna feel amazing, and you're gonna repeat it, and as you repeat it several times, you go and talk to your partner now. The conversation becomes different. It have a different tone. The reason it's going to have a different tone because you're coming from a different point of view, a point of view of feeling amazing, feeling secure, feeling safe. So you're no longer trying to prove anything. You're trying to speak. I mean, you will find the words automatically. You will be inspired to speak with wisdom. But every time when you feel the heat, remember, I'm feeling amazing. Because you're going to feel heat when the wrong words are coming on the other side. Instead of absorbing that heat, you soften it out by saying, I'm feeling amazing. This conversation it's amazing. Everybody's at peace. I love this. You're telling it to yourself. And you repeat it over and over, even though while the other person is talking. And you're nodding, okay. But what you're doing is, you're not listening to what they're saying. You're paying attention to what you're saying. Mm-hmm. So, well, you see, you're smiling, you're not serious. I said, no, I'm actually paying attention. And I'm laughing or I'm smiling because I understand where you're coming from. It makes sense what you're saying. You might not know what they said, but it makes perfect sense. And I owe you an apology. I owe you an apology. So I apologize. I should have handled it better. You just said something that changes the whole conversation. It changes the tonality. It brings the conversation a different angle and degree. And that changes the outcome. And at the end of the day, you got time to make up and things are better. There's a smile, there's joy, there's warmth. So do not merely look out for your own interest. Instead, pay interest of what are you trying to achieve at the end? For me, when it happened the first time, my goal was to prove that she's wrong. I wanted to just make sure that she knows that she's wrong. But I lost everything in the process. We didn't lose the marriage, but there was coldness for a short period of time. And when we were building and reconnecting again, it was awkward. Because she wasn't feeling okay. And I wasn't, and I'm like, we haven't connected. You haven't even, and my other things are playing. You didn't even apologize for acting the way you act. All of these things were coming up. So it took time to heal. Well, if I had acted in a correctness, there was nothing to heal. There was just a misunderstanding that would have made understandable for each and every party. I would have understood where she's coming from. She would have understood where I'm coming from, and we would have laughed about it. And that's what we do today sometimes. That's the secret. And once you know the secret, you got to apply it. Idealize, introduce, iterate. Once you know that, apply it so you can benefit from that technique you have learned. Most people have a tendency of learning things and shelve them. But the choice is yours. Today, we've talked some amazing things. I've given you some amazing tools. You have no reason to continue to go with the path you have gone. Change your approach by pursuing correctness versus rightness. If this message spoke to you, follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Go in my Facebook page, subscribe, watch many others you're going to find, and continue to engage in the content that I pour out in this podcast. Share with your friends, your groups. Use some of them for your group discussions, if you have group discussions, for lessons within the teachings that you're doing. And if you need me to speak in some of them, they say holla out, and I will respond. all I'm saying, you can reach out to me and I'll be more than happy. But most important, don't be excited to go and show others what you've learned, but become that which you have learned yourself. So you no longer show others based on what you have learned, you show others based on who you are. That is a true master. The one who was once a student and applied the teaching from that instruction he or she received, and therefore became the very teaching that was given, and now is a master. It is he or she who have been where it is the weakest point before, and grow and become the strongest, become educated, informed, and wise in the matter. So today, if you need more resources, as always, in any of my social media, just type renew, because that's all we're doing. We are renewing your mind to help you start thinking from a different point of view. As I always say, this is not a solo journey. It's not kind of a thing that you do it by yourself, because any of those things were true, you would have already done, and today you would have been experiencing your relationship, your marriage differently. So you're always welcome to reach out. And again, this is your host, Al from Shihiri. Until then, I'll be back.